I'm so excited for this conversation. Are we ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's get started. Well, with every leap conversation, this is called the leap, we like to start with the leap moment. So, this is that moment when you knew you were going to transition into entrepreneurship. I want to know how you felt, what you smelled, where were you, what was going on when you were like, okay, this is happening. I'm about to be a boss. That's a shout out to Cameka over there. So we'll start with you, Cameka. What was your leap moment?
I think I leaped out of my mama's belly. I was born an entrepreneur, honestly. It has been in my blood since I was a young child. My mom teases that I, had all types of businesses, many that were not successful. I sold taffy apples in high school. I did hair in college. I was a hustler. I did everything I could to make money and make the ends meet. And so I think that entrepreneurship was something that was always in my blood. I just really didn't know the business side of it. And so my second love is, well, I would say my first love is education. I love young people. And so I got my degree, my master's degree in education. I was an administrator for Chicago Public Schools for about 10 years, and I developed programs for the district, trained teachers and principals on success strategies. And in 2009, when we had our kind of first economic crisis, I was laid off. And so I felt like that was my moment to kind of step out and start my business. I had a business on the side at that time, which is an event marketing company. And I knew I wanted to do experiential marketing and do things for, Black consumers. I just really didn't know how to launch it as a full-time business. And so as I was talking to different entrepreneurs, different, people in business, I really saw that there was a need for a community for women of color to have a safe space to talk about business, many of us being first-time business owners. And so that really was the leap for me, being laid off and kind of stepping out there on faith and saying, hey, I'm going to do this. And so my vision was to actually go back to work. We get the summers off. Great job of being, part of the education system. And so I was literally going to, do my business over the summer, go back to work in the fall. And it just never happened. And so Boss took off very quickly. We were listed in Forbes magazine as like one of the top 10 websites for women, I think within the first year. I went on my first tour the second year, and it just kind of all happened from there. So, yeah.
I also knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to own my own marketing firm, but I would say when I was in college, I thought I would start it like when I was like 40, right? So all throughout school, I freelanced and kind of built up my own clientele. And then I graduated and everyone scared me and said, you need to get a full-time job. So I got a job at AT&T doing graphic design. And that was like the first taste of corporate America and the politics. And I was like, this is not for me. So I left AT&T and then I went to a startup that did strategic planning software for hospitals. So very unsexy industry, but it was a very small startup, and I got a chance to work really closely with the CEO. And I even told him like, hey, this is cool and all, but one day I'm going to own my own agency. So he said, I believe in you. And as long as you get your work done here, I don't care what you do. So I would get my work done at work, and then I would go meet clients during lunch. I would take like 2-hour breaks and meet clients. So then my clients kept telling me, why are you still working full time? You need to quit your job. But of course I was scared because I'm like, okay, I have to pay my bills. So I just kept asking people like, how do you know when you should quit? And people just kept saying, you'll know. And I'm like, but that's not helping me. How will I actually know? So anyway, being at that small startup for about a year, they were kind of transitioning my role into something I really did not want to do. And then it kind of just clicked like, okay, it's time for me to just branch off and do my own thing. So I had a significant other at the time. I called him. I rushed to the bathroom the day I was going to quit my job. I'm like in the stall talking to him, and I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to quit my job today and do Creative Juice full time. Like, do you think I can do it? And he was like, yeah, you got it. And I got you. So I put in my resignation, and then I told like all of my clients that I had built up, hey, I quit my job and I'm doing this full time now. So they were all like super supportive, and they kept referring me to like different people. And then at this time, SEO was getting like really popular. So I learned everything I could about SEO, and I got my website on the first page of Google. So anyone who searched for a freelance graphic designer, if they were in Atlanta, I was the first result. So I just started getting clients from that. And then like 6 months in, I had too much work, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? So then I was like, let me find someone to help me. So I started searching online. I was unique back then because I did design and development. Now that's pretty standard, but back in like 2010, you either did design or you were a developer. You didn't really understand both. So I found a guy who basically had the same skill set as me, who did design and development as well. I literally called him. He lived in Greenville, South Carolina, and I said, hey, I own an agency. This is weird, but I just need you for like 15 hours a week. Would you be open to it? He said, yeah, sure. So he freelanced for me, and then the business just kept growing. So his 15 hours turned into like 40 hours like every week. And I was like, okay, I kind of have like a full-time employee now. So the business just kept growing organically from there. And yeah, fast forward 7 years later, Creative Juice is what it is today. So, but it was very scary, obviously. But yeah.
I think for me, because I had a very good career, one that I actually really loved. I was making six figures at the age of 25. And so being in that position, I don't think I would have quit, And so the layoff was a blessing in disguise because it allowed me to kind of take a chance, whereas I would have probably always, juggled the two, my career and my business. And so entrepreneurship allowed me to be able to take all of my talents and skills and put it into one place. And of course, eventually I launched my nonprofit, which is Boss on Campus. And we work with, colleges across the country, like Howard and, Morgan State and Xavier, actually teaching young people entrepreneurship. So it was a blessing in disguise, but I definitely don't feel like I would have, I don't think I would have chosen that, because I think everything I learned in my career, it really taught me how to be a great business owner, training, teaching, research, teams, strategy, like all of those things that I did, it helped me in my business. So I'm always pushing people to, get that free professional development from your job, take that free professional development, learn as much as you can. I am like a lifelong learner. I probably read 10 articles a day. I love education. And so that has really helped me. I'm a self-taught business owner. So yeah.
So how were you able to stay in business? You both, I know we're getting close to time, so I wanted to get a little bit more information about how you were able to stay in business, especially with the economy. You, Cameka, started during a recession, which is extremely challenging. And now you've been in business for 10 years, over 10 years at this point. So what is the secret behind that?
Saving. I'm good with money. I think financial literacy is something that's really, really important. So at a very young age, I was very interested in how do I save. I had a mentor who was an educator who told me, you're single, you don't have children, you make a lot of money, double what you put in your IRA, and so I did that. And so by the time I was laid off and starting my business, I had an overflow of savings and, money that I could actually live off of. And so I was able to do that while I did my business full time. Most entrepreneurs don't have that luxury. They have to work to pay bills. And so that, in addition to consulting, I tell people networking is probably the key to success. Relationships are everything. And so I was able to, in addition, while growing my business, take on consulting gigs with different schools to come in and teach their, principals or train their students on strategies that I learned while I was in my career. And so, just being a consultant on the side within the Chicago public school system while I ran my business, it really helped me for like that first 3 years when most entrepreneurs fail because of finances. Yeah. So you got to use what you got to get what you want,
Right. What about you, Octavia? You started so young, and your job just your company picked up so quickly.
Yes. So I would definitely say financial literacy as well. I did not go to business school. I was in corporate America for like 2 years. So I didn't get access to those resources and career development and stuff like that. So everything has really been learning as we grow as a company. And, I had to learn what a balance sheet was, how to control my margins, right? All that stuff I had to kind of figure out from scratch, which I'm sure Cameka did as well. But that stuff is really important to really determine if your business is profitable, and also looking at all the breadth of services that we offer. Which services are we the most profitable on, and which ones aren't, and how do we let go of those? Or even looking at the client base. So obviously, when I started out, I think I was charging like $50 an hour as an agency. And it was a little bit of a struggle because I was a freelancer who transitioned into an agency. And when you're an agency, you have a project manager, an account manager, an office person, right? Some of these people on the team are not billable. I didn't realize that. So I was closing these deals, and I'm looking at my bank account like, why is the money not here? And then I realized I'm still operating as a freelancer. I am now a small business owner, and I need to increase my rates to cover my overhead. And then also, again, network is extremely important. I used to advertise on Craigslist, everywhere you can imagine. I would tell everyone that, I own a marketing firm. I never leave the house without a business card. My friends make fun of me, but you'll never catch me without a business card. And I'm all about relationships and connecting with people. Anytime I meet someone, I add them on LinkedIn instantly. And I post a lot of content on LinkedIn to position myself as a thought leader so that I can be at the top of mind with my potential clients. But yeah, really working that network. When you're starting a business and you're trying to build your clientele, you have to reach out to the people you know and really use that network to your advantage, because people do business with people that they like and that they know, not necessarily people that are good, right? You could be mediocre, but if someone likes you, they're still going to work with you. So your network is really, really important. And then also finding mentors, right? So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I found mentors, Black and white, male and female, and asked them, hey, I never worked at an agency and I started one and I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So what do you do for this? What do you do for that? And then really taking that advice, listening to it, but then doing it my way. So one thing about Creative Juice is we are disrupting marketing the millennial way. And I always have to tell my clients, because they're quick to say, I've been doing this for 30 years and, I've never seen it done this way, right? It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just a different perspective, and it's challenging the status quo. And that's kind of the unique value that we bring to the table. But all of that, I would say, is important to kind of just staying in business, but really looking at the numbers, because that's what's the most important.
I think that especially as an entrepreneur, it's really important to have perseverance, of course, because I tell people, it's not the person who starts, it's the person who finishes. And so consistency will always get you a long way. And so I know when I first started Boss, there was not a lot of communities for women. There were communities for women, but not women of color. And so I was just consistently putting my brand out there and attracting so many women because it was an open market. And so that really allowed me to, garner not only accolades, but also business and some really strong partnerships with brands and corporations. And so I'm always telling entrepreneurs that it's important to persevere, because you're going to get no's. You're going to get people who tell you not interested. And so for me, I'm the kind of person where I'm pretty positive anyway. I see pretty much everything half full. And so if somebody tells me no, I just ask them, tell me why. And then I go do the why, and I come back, and then I'll, give me that check. So it's pretty, for me, it's about consistency. And that has really helped me. And then also knowing how to pivot my business. I think that we are in a time where, things are changing every single day. There's new technology, there's new business strategies, there's new, everything. And so you have to be willing to pivot and not get stuck in what you're doing. Like, this is what I love to do, but if there's a better way to do it, you definitely need to incorporate that in your business. And so I'm always trying to stay on top of trends, really looking at what, in the marketplace. I look at people who are at the top of their game in my industry, and I try to follow their lead. And like Octavia said, with, putting, of course, my own spin on it. But definitely persistence and being able to pivot in your business is so important.
And I would say definitely resilience along with that. So, entrepreneurship has ups and downs, and oftentimes they can be very extreme, right? I talked to one of my friends today, and I was telling her, today I could be crying because I don't have any clients, and I'm like, how am I going to meet payroll next week? And then tomorrow, a client could sign a $20,000 deal just at the snap of a finger, right? So you have to be resilient and be able to kind of manage those ups and those downs of entrepreneurship. You know, when you work in a job, you get that paycheck every 2 weeks faithfully. It doesn't work like that when you start your own business, and you have to be okay with that, knowing that you only eat what you kill, right? And then also figuring out your why. Like, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? How are you helping people? How are you making a difference? At the end of the day, there might be someone else who does what you do, but they're not going to bring that secret sauce that you bring. So really refining that and knowing your stuff. I'm the millennial CEO. I would like to say there's nothing anybody else could tell me about what it means to be a millennial CEO. No one else can tell me what it means to be or to have a strong brand, right? Because I really know my stuff, and I've really made sure that I was a master of my craft. That's important. And then also just being true to yourself. When I first got into business, I looked to the left and I looked to the right. All the other marketing firms who had the big clients that I had were mostly owned by white males. I felt like when I pitched clients, I had to conform to some type of standard. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm me. Like, I am who I am. And again, that secret sauce is what makes Creative Juice so great. So I dress how I want to dress. I wear big earrings. I wear my hair. Y'all can't see it now, but my nails are usually over the top, crazy designs, but that's just who I am. So always be true to yourself. Don't let anybody try to put you in a box and define what you should be doing. Again, you can ask for advice, but just always be true to yourself and take that advice, but make your own decisions. And then the last thing I'll say, because I'm saying a lot, is write down your goals. I really believe in like manifesting and just really making sure that I'm mapping out, this is my North Star, this is my goal, and really mapping out the steps that it's going to take me to get to that particular goal. You'll be surprised how your goals just come into fruition simply because you wrote them down and you prayed on them and you manifested it, right? So it's really important that you write down a plan and then have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. But then also know life is what happens when we're out, you know, planning stuff, right? Life just comes at you. So knowing that you have to be able to pivot, right? Just in case something pops up, and you have to be resilient and just show up every day. That's all you got to do. Just keep showing up and you'll be successful.
That's right.